What's going on, Team OnCore? We've got a special guest today, John Geiberger. John is the high school golf coach of Oaks Christian. He is a golf instructor. He is head of OnCore's player development. He's the past head coach of Pepperdine University men's golf team. He's also been a professional caddy. And last but not least, the son of Mr. 59, Al Geiberger. John, welcome. How are you?
Great, Steve. Thanks for that wonderful introduction.
You got it. First question, I'd like to know, how are you managing personally in this global health crisis in California, where you are outside LA?
Well, everybody's adapting to a new routine, and I think I'm starting to settle into my routine. Everybody's trying to figure out what's the best for them and how we're going to get through it. And the challenging thing is how long it's going to be. It's a great unknown. We're in uncharted waters with any kind of map, and it's challenging for all. But I think everybody here in California is obeying the rules and sheltering at home, and hopefully that does what it needs to do to flatten out the so-called curve.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're staying home and healthy. Tell us, how are you communicating with your players on the high school team there?
Well, the timing of the shutdown, we just got our season started. We had 3 or 4 matches in a tournament, and we were kind of off and running. And then to get a complete roadblock was challenging for the kids. I'm reaching out to them through email, through texting and phone calls a couple times a week, trying to encourage them to stay up on their game, stay up on their studies. Try to tell them that this is something that we couldn't plan for it, but once we get through it and overcome it, we'll probably be eventually better from it. So
our chairman, Keith, shared an email with me that you had sent to your team members, and it had listed some advice in terms of being at home, some visualization techniques for our listeners out there and golfers out there. What are some advice you could give them to keep their golf games in shape during the quarantine?
It's a great question. Since we're home now, we can't go to the range or the golf course and go out and play. So it's a great time to kind of stay in touch with the game, but we just have to do it a different way. And it's a great time to work on our mental game. I think golf is data shows about 80 to 90% mental. And I think we work on our mental game less than 10% of the time. So this is a great opportunity for us to work on our mental game through visualization. And I know a lot of people have visualized a shot when they're in the trees and they see the shot, but that's maybe the only time in a round that they actually visualize a shot. And I'm a huge believer in the power of the mind and visualizing not only the first shot, the second shot, the third shot, but visualizing the entire round. And how you do it, you find a quiet place. It's going to take about 30 minutes. And what you would do is then visualize the first shot off the tee, visualize the tee shot, hear the sound that the ball makes off the glove face, visualize the shot that you would hit. We're not all of a sudden going to hit great shots on every hole, but try to visualize shots that you'd be happy with in competition. So visualize that opening tee shot, the bounce and the roll. Just don't visualize the flight, but visualize the ball landing, bouncing, rolling to a certain spot, where that ball would be under those conditions that day. Pick your home course or a course you play frequently, so you can be very clear with the details of the hole and the rest of the course. Then you'd visualize about what club you would hit into the green from that spot. Visualize the type of shot you would hit based on where the flag is. Don't always hit the best shot or a perfect shot, but hit a shot, like I say, you'd be happy with in competition. And play the entire round. Visualize yourself walking up on the green, marking the ball. Visualize seeing the line early from when you do mark the ball. Then visualize the speed and the line. Maybe it's a 15-footer, you make the putt. Visualize the ball going in. If it's a 210-yard par 3, visualize hitting the ball in the middle of the green and hitting a great lag putt up to 20 or 30, from 20 or 30 feet to 2 feet and tapping it in. So when you're doing this, you're not going to shoot your career round, but visualize all good shots that you'd be happy with in competition. And the late, great Seve Ballesteros used to lay on his bed and before he'd go out and play in a major and visualize every shot that he wanted to hit that day. And it's proofs in the pudding. I think he won 6 majors. And it's something that I've done before. I've had my game hasn't felt great, and I've done it before. I've gone out and played the next day, and I've actually hit some of the exact shots that I did visualize the day before. So it does work, and it does help you get through your round, but it's a great way. Try to do it every day or every other day and play your home course and then play another course in the area and play all the courses that you're familiar with and that have played. So that's number one. We got to spend all this time using our mind and the power of our brain a lot better. Now, physically, we got to switch gears there. Most of us can't hit balls, so we've got to make some adjustments inside or outside. So I've got a few concepts that will help. Number one, go outside or on the side of your house or in your driveway and take a couple of clubs, preferably sand wedge, pitching wedge. They have more head weight. Put the clubs together and make 10 swings, 10 official swings. That'll help with flexibility. It'll help speed of your swing. It'll build some strength, and it's a great warm-up. I was a college Sherman up at Stanford one year, and Johnny Miller was giving a clinic, and he said this is better than hitting balls. And I was quite used to this as a kid. The courses I grew up on, neither one of them really had a driving range or a driving range that was close to the clubhouse. So I don't think I ever hit balls as a kid before I went out and played. So I would use this same strategy. So make 10 swings and do it 3 times. So make 3 sets of 10. You'll probably work up a little sweat. Then take your sand wedge or pitching wedge and make 10 more swings with that club. You'll notice that you'll have a lot more speed with swinging that one club, a little more power, and try to feel all the different concepts of what your body's doing, how you're reacting, and things like that. So say you've made 30 with so-called weighted clubs, and you've made 30 just with one club. So then secondly, if you have any grass or an area where you can at least make contact with the ball around your house, preferably outside, and even if just try to take 3 or 4 balls and pitch them 10 or 20 yards, work on your setup, where you want to land the ball. That's the most important thing here. Not so much if there's a flag there and how close it ended up, but the 2 things that you're working on here is ball contact. So hitting the ball in the center of the club face, landing those balls where you see them landing in a specific spot. Then when you do go out and play, when that day comes, all you're adjusting is how hard to hit those pitches and chips as compared to, if there's a flag. So if you have a grass area, park across the street, a grass area in your backyard, take advantage of that, hit those chips and pitches. And third, but not last, putting. The all-important part of putting. We all have probably some carpet in our house, whether it's thick or thin. It's very important to stay connected to the putter. So first and foremost, I want you to take a couple of balls and putt to a quarter from 4 feet. So we're going to hit that quarter 10 times in a row. And we're going to do this drill 3 times. So this might take you 5, 10, 15 minutes, however long it takes you to do this. But the keys here are routine, fundamentals. That's anytime you go through your routine, it settles the mind, settles the body. Then you want to work on speed putts. So say you've got 20, 25 feet of carpet that you can putt to. Put a cup, grab a cup from the kitchen, put a cup down, and putt 5 balls. Try to get it within 6 inches, either short of the cup or past the cup. When you do 5 in a row from 5 feet, then advance it to 10 feet, up to 15 feet and 20 feet. So once you've done up to 20 feet, then work your way back from 20 to 15 to 10 to 5. Now, like I said, you might have thin carpet, it might be so-called fast green, or you might have a thick shag carpet, it might be a slow green, but that's okay. Just as long as you've gone through your routine, you checked your setup, your weight is distributed correctly, and you're going through your routine, ball contact and a smooth stroke is really what you're looking for there. So that's a great way to work on the physical part of it, the mental side of it, and keeping us kind of connected, or I call it in touch with the game. So when we do go out and play on the course, I think you will be a lot better from us.
Great. Appreciate those tips, John. And so I'm curious, growing up as the son of Al Geiberger, Mr. 59, the first to shoot, or the first to break 60 on the PGA Tour. You followed him around the tour, and you've got great memories. I am curious, what is your favorite story from being out there with your father on tour?
Great question. There's so many memories that pop into my mind, but I'm going to blend one of being with my father and actually caddying for him. He just joined the senior tour in September of 1987, and that's something he looked forward to for years, to getting on that tour. And I think he went out and won his 3rd or 4th tournament, the Vantage Championship in North Carolina, and the tour was headed back to the West Coast in the next few weeks in Las Vegas. And I went over and caddied for him, and he walks out on the driving range on Wednesday in the Pro-Am, and he's literally standing about 2 or 3 inches above the grass. And he had so much confidence from that win. And I was like, wow, I've never seen my dad kind of have this approach or this feeling to the game. I sensed something really special there. So first day he goes out and shoots 67. It was absolutely flawless. Didn't miss a shot. That was probably the highest he could have shot. I mean, it was so easy. Second round, he shoots a cold, windy October day in Las Vegas, very kind of unheralded there, and shoots 73. But probably played as good or better than he did the day before. Just got a few bad bounces and things didn't go our way. But I think we were in about 20th place, 5 shots out of the lead. And that night I couldn't really fall asleep. When I did sleep, I woke up early. I felt something very heavy and kind of alert with me that morning. It's like something special was going to take place. I got to the course early. I was ready to go. He comes out, warms up. He birdies the first 5 holes. Now this is at the Desert Inn, Las Vegas. Birdies the first 5, shoots 29 on the front 9, birdies 18 from about 20 feet to break Jack Nicklaus's course record of 64. He shoots 62 and wins the tournament by 3. He makes $37,500. He writes me a check for $3,000. That was about $2,700 more than I had before I started the week. That was a special memory to be with him and be part of a win. And the way he did it was it sticks very strongly in my mind.
That's amazing, and certainly more than I've ever made caddying. So
yeah,
appreciate that story.
That was back in '87 too. So,
well, what I've got up behind me is actually the scorecard from your father's famous round there at Colonial when we went out last year with him, and the winner of the sweepstakes to recreate the round at Colonial in Memphis. And it was a really special time hearing from your father about the shots that he hit and, you know, what was going through his mind during that round. And that leads me to my next question. What are some life lessons that he has taught you over the years?
Of all the clinics he's done over the years that I've been part of, he likes to use the example of golf is like life. And the more you think about this, the more it makes sense. It teaches you patience. It teaches you how to get out of trouble. It lets you know that when your back's against the wall, sometimes you can hit the greatest shot or make the best decision in life. That it's not a sprint, it's a slow walk or a marathon, so to speak. But the more you think about life and the more you think about a round of golf, sometimes you can bogey the first 3 holes and shoot even par. You know, sometimes the day starts off really poorly, and you know what else can go wrong or in my life, and the day ends up to being great. So you tend to get what you put into it, I guess, so to speak. But that's one philosophy that I've always kind of kept with me, that he's taught me and that I've seen. I was also able to see how he treats people, and I was able to travel with him a lot and be around a lot of people, and kind of treats everybody with the great respect, no matter who the person is. And that's one thing that's always really stuck with me in that respect. Great. And one thing I did learn being on the tour with him just about the athletic side is how great the great players are. They're so much different when the flag goes up than they are in the practice round or the pro-am. How you and I are when we go out and play, that's kind of how we are. But how great players have different gears. And I like to say when the flag goes up for them on Thursdays, like when the curtains are pulled back and the lights are on and Fred Astaire starts dancing, how many people can dance with Fred Astaire? It's like not many people can play with the greats of all time. So it was it's really interesting to learn that.
Very interesting. There's certainly on a whole nother level that's hard to even conceive. Next question. I'm curious, you being out at Sherwood Country Club, teaching, working with the members, what's kind of been the reaction to the Elixir ball out there?
They're in love with it out there. It was kind of like gave it to one of my regular members, and he got done, said it's the best ball he's ever played. Then he gave it to another guy, and he said, and you know, it kind of spread like wildfire. I think the thing that most people mention is, one, it goes a little straighter, doesn't curve as much. 2, it goes a little further because of that. And 3rd, it has such a great response around the greens. Everybody kind of says the same things. And when you start hearing it from so many different people, you realize how true it really is.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Okay, so we're going to switch up gears here and jump into our lightning round. Some rapid fire questions for you. And sure. Then we'll end with one last question for our viewers. And I will say, if there are any questions that the viewers may have, please leave them in the comments below. First question, would you rather play Bethpage Black or Pebble Beach?
Pebble Beach.
Prediction on next tour event, before June 30th or after?
Unfortunately, after.
Fair enough. If you had to pick one event to go to, Masters or Ryder Cup?
Masters.
Favorite player?
You know, I'm going to keep it in the family and go with my dad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go there.
Good answer. Are you a hot dog or a granola bar kind of guy at the turn?
I'll go hot dog.
Nice. Hybrid or 2-iron?
I grew up hitting a 1-iron, so I'm going to have to say a 2-iron.
Nice. I should have had that on there. Would you rather play with Michael Jordan or Tony Romo?
Michael Jordan.
Oprah or Kim Kardashian?
Kim Kardashian.
Interesting. All right, John. You made it through the lightning round. Got one last question. Can you tell us something our viewers might be surprised to learn about you?
Well, I coached a long time in college at Pepperdine, 17 years. And the question I always get is, how do you guys do? And the question I like to give people is we actually won the national championship. So we won the national championship. So that is quite a unique honor to have on your resume. And secondly, we were Division I. We weren't Division II or Division III, being a small school. And the unique thing about winning that championship is we won the 100th NCAA championship. So it was the Centennial Championship, which kind of makes it even a little more special.
That's awesome. And you had some pretty good rounds over the years yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, people always ask me what my lowest round is, and I could say I've never shot 59, but I did shoot 61 back at Montecito Country Club years ago, and I did par the last 2 holes, so I had room for 59 in there.
It must be in your blood.
Yeah, that's as close as I'm ever going to get to 59. We all hit 59 at one point. We just don't stop there.
Good point. Well, thank you, John. Really appreciate you coming on today and being here for our audience. And to the listeners out there, one last reminder, any questions, please feel free to leave them below. Thank you, John. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Cheers.
Stay safe.
You too.